How you doing, YouTube? Matt, Master Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. Big beer time. Stovepipe beer time. First time getting something of this ilk from a brewery time in the form of Cape May Brewing. It's their Bourbon Barrel Aged Concrete Ship. Yeah, I've had my fair share of Cape May. More times than not, the stuff that I've reviewed, they've sent off as per this one. So thank you very much, guys. And yeah, I think this is the first kind of bourbon barrel aged or malt for non-sour barrel aged. I've had a couple sour beers from them, and I've reviewed a couple that have hit barrels, but this is the first one outside of that kind of soft, kind of fruited lambic, low ABV kind of beer thing in a can, in a stovepipe nonetheless. So you're talking about 20 ounces of fucking. Hopefully it's. We'll see what's what. Now, what does it say on here? There's story time in the back. We'll try to rip through that. Cape May Brewing Company, Bourbon Barrel Aged Concrete Ship, Imperial Stout, 10.1%. Okay, here comes story time. It says, Concrete Ship is a full-bodied Russian Imperial Stout with notes of cocoa, coffee, subtle roastiness, and silky smooth mouthfeel, befitting a beer named after sunken World War II Navy folly. Instead of sinking our stout off Cape May's Sunset Beach, we laid ours to rest in a freshly dumped 7-year Kentucky bourbon barrels. Then extended aging in these gorgeous vessels amplifies the chocolatey undertones with oak character and barrel influence, pulling out rich velvety texture to the beer. Pairing beautifully with the subtle heat from the barrels, a blend of 8 different malts give Concrete Ship a layered profile that begs to be barrel aged. So we sourced the choicest barrels to see this maiden voyage to port. And that'd be that. Label-wise, it's 8, you know. It's kind of DeFont font, and it's a little bit of topographical mappiness. Something about stovepipe cans kind of turned me on, though, so I'll say that. So you're talking about a 10.1% Russian Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrel. So what are we expecting? We're expecting bourbon. We're expecting a stout. And then we're expecting barreling with Russian Imperial in this. Now, what do you mean by that? Russian Imperial, bittering, but not too bittering, because there's a big bittering component. It's balanced off by sweetness. You can get this natural cherry vibe from a lot of Russian Imperial stouts. You're talking about barreling with a bourbon barrel, so you're talking about vanilla, coconut, barrel char, all those kind of things. So hopefully that comes to an head. What do they say here as far as time goes? They put it in 7-year Kentucky bourbon barrel aged beers, but they don't actually, I don't think, maybe I skimmed over it and I don't see it, but I don't know how long they put it in barrels. It's very important. But yeah, she looks the part. Rich, creamy head, a little bit of rockiness on top because I've been having it sit there for a bit, and you know, it's not motor oil, but it's getting pretty damn close. So let's call it, you know, new school synthetic, not old school motor oil. Let's get a nose. I mean, that's fucking soft, creamy, chocolate ice cream vibes. I'm not getting huge, like, I'm not getting huge heat off it, but the bourbon is definitely there. I'm getting bittering and I'm getting sweet. It's not like either are canceling each other out. They're both there in spades. Man, it's like soft chocolate creaminess. It's not chocolate. It's not Cool Whip. It's somewhere floating in between, whatever that may be. The bourbon is there. The barrel is there. It's not overly charry, but you definitely get it. You get this little bit of soft kind of vanilla kind of... it's not really coconut for me. But it's nice. It's rich. It's bold. It's big. It smells like a 10% bourbon barrel aged stout. Let's dive in. Cheers. Kind of a letdown, to be perfectly honest with you. There's a nice barrel character to it. It's not over the top. There's a soft charriness to it. Nice soft, like, smoky, almost kind of burnt barrel char to it. It comes off dry. Very dry. Almost like an ashy dryness, which can work with a big, huge bourbon barrel aged stout. And while you get that spirit character and both sweetness and heat on the back end, it doesn't come off so hot, so jarring that it's off-putting. But there's something missing. And I think that component is a fat, wide, flabby sweetness that kind of ties everything together, because the barrel comes through smoky, charry, inherently bittering component. Dryness, again, dryness kind of marries with that bittering, adds a little bit more kind of dry, not sweetness to the beer. You get that spirit. It's pretty big, so you have that evaporative alcoholness. Kind of, it's hot, but it's not overly hot. But again, evaporative alcoholness kind of adds a dryness to the beer. So you're having dry on dry on dry. I need an added component. I need a little bit more sweetness in there to kind of carry it home, and that's where it kind of misses. The nose is fantastic. The nose is absolutely delicious. It gives you that rich milk chocolatiness. It gives you that soft vanilla vibes, a little bit of soft kind of rich, almost lactosey-ness in it. And it gives you those bitter maltiness in it to where you're like, okay, I'm going to get both ends of those spectrum and it's going to work. But when you taste it, you have the combination of the dryness of that spirit, that alcohol, that evaporatedness on top of the barrel, on top of the roasted malts. You need that sweetness to kind of carry you through. It's just not there. So it's fine. I mean, listen, it's a Russian Imperial Stout, so it's supposed to be bitter. It's supposed to be kind of erring in that direction. And while it gets there, I just need a dollop more sweetness to kind of bring it home. It just misses that. So it just kind of loses me as the beer goes through. Let's put it this way. As this sits right now, and this was canned, I don't have to put canning dates on there in their beers, but the brewery sent it to me, so it has to be less than a month old, I would assume, as far as shelf life or shelf appearance goes. This being late June 2019, I want to see these right around New Year's. I think some of that dryness, some of that bitterness will drop off. I think some of that sweetness will come to the head, and I think this might turn into something pretty fantastic. But as it sits now, it's just a little bit too dry for my liking. But that might appeal to some people, so take that for what it's worth. But overall, bittering malts, you get that dryness from the wood, and then you get that dryness from that big evaporative alcoholness, and then not necessarily a big sweetness to back it up. Done and done. Is it one of the better bourbon barrel aged stouts that I've had as of late? No. But I could see it turning into something pretty fucking cool, because more often than not, I'm not going to age outside of core 4 beers all that long, but you're talking about a core 4 with a barrel involved, so I mean, it could have legs. Value and availability, no idea. Kate May sent it to me, and leave you with, if you like what we like this beer. If you like big bourbon barrel aged beers, if you like Russian Imperial Stouts, you like a little bit of dryness and a decent amount of dryness and a decent amount of bittering to things, because that's kind of how this one lands. The components are there. It just kind of misses the mark in balance, but with a little bit of an asterisk, I think time might treat it well. So take that for what it's worth. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive. If you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed your review. Hopefully enjoying a nice little Cape May Jammer right now. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers.